Hello and welcome. My name is Neil Thrussell, and I am excited to have a friend, Tim Summers, show up. Who's my bio of Tim is he's a collector of resources, collector of information, and the consummate researcher. So welcome, Tim.
Hello. Yeah. So thank you for that intro. Wasn't too dangerous.
So I've known Tim for many years, so I was pleasantly uh, pleased that he chose to come and share his thoughts on success. And so let's go back to the younger version of Tim, not the much younger Tim, but a younger version of Tim. What do you think your initial ideas on success were?
Um, Going back, the thoughts are a combination of my first car, high school, and it was just ensuring that everything worked well within the car. That was
Okay.
kind of having enough resources to get it from point A to point B, ensuring that the car was ready to serve my needs. And so that at times required finding different resources and asking people for help. That was one of the lessons in that, because um, I had an uncle who was a mechanic, and driving an older car, that was a necessity. And so I would state that part of my success at that point in time was learning how to ask for help. I was not didn't know everything that I needed to, and so that was one of my steps forward in finding my successes at that point. The goal was to keep the car up and healthy, and asking for help was one of those necessities, and doing a whole bunch of crazy things.
Oh, that's cool. So, would you say doesn't matter how successful or that part of the quest to being successful is asking for help?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
And what other things in the quest to move a person to success? What do you think that they would need? What are some of the additional resources?
Um, well, I think the one of the key resources is, of course, your willingness to do and fail. That um, pushing the edge. Failure is not an indication of um, failure in that classic sense. It's the first step to success, right? Because now you've discovered something, a lesson out of that, a way to grow. That's not the right path, something along those lines. And so I take the um, one of the things is the acceptance that failure will show up, and the willingness to take the next step after that.
So, knowing that some degree of learning opportunity or failure is inevitable, but not always, but willing to move beyond that. So, do you think a successful person doesn't, we're not defining them, has learned that or has the ability to move beyond, beyond failure quickly, or just that they move beyond it at all?
Um, I'll say both. Right now, I think from an industry perspective, they call it a pivot. Like from a business perspective, they run across a roadblock and they pivot. And so they don't use the term "you failed" correctly. It's not a failure, it's a learning moment. You have to adjust, and that's where that pivot comes in. And I think the individuals who've developed a pattern of success can pivot often. They see what they've done, they've seen what's working, they try something new, and at some point, one of those pivots will work out successfully, because they've learned more, they've gotten better at it.
Okay. So now we go to the present day, Tim, and what is your current version of success? So you've achieved a modicum of success, and you're living a version of success because your younger self wanted to be where you are here and right now. So what is it that you're living? What do you think success is to you now?
the core way I've been seeing it is when I look back 6 months, I'm better than I was. I'm better physically. I have a better mental attitude. I've got more resources, and overall, things are just. I've seen progress from where I was even just 6 months ago, sometimes even 3 months ago, and so I continue to be successful because I'm moving forward in directions that I desire to do so.
Cool. So in your current version, success is not that I have a Porsche in the driveway. Not a very is not a materialistic way, but more of a holistic well-being
Yes.
and version.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was there ever in a time in your life where the material mattered, that you wanted the white picket fence, the fancy cars, the whatever, the
Mm-hmm.
society? No, let's change it to the societal version of
Mm-hmm.
what success was.
Yes. I would say, I want to say 12 years ago, I wrote a manifesto, and I knew that some of it would be unrealistic. But in Canada, if you made more than $6 billion, you were in the top five of the wealthy in Canada. So I wrote a manifesto with that as my target number 5 years down the road. Now,
Cool.
I recognize that I've missed it a little bit, but similar to that arc, when you aim for the moon and you happen to bypass and end up in a bunch of stars, I'm feeling in that category. Life has become really good. I'm happy. I have resources that I can utilize to keep moving forward. So from my perspective, yes, I haven't achieved the $6 billion to make that marker of being one of the top 5 wealthiest individuals in Canada, but both my wealth and enjoyment have achieved, I would say, and I'm not sure if it's hard to put value on enjoying life. So
Absolutely. So you had this material goal, and this younger version of you had this. There's no judgment right to it. At what time? What do you think changed your focus? Because there's a shift or in your focus. What was the change, do you think?
um, just seeing material things um, aren't permanent, and I don't know how to word that better. They come, they go, they disappear, they get stolen. Your internal enjoyment is you, and that can't go
Absolutely.
away, right? How you are. Yes, a lot of things can influence it, and but ultimately you have lots of control over how you're feeling and where you feel, no matter what's happening to you. And I think that's an enormous amount of success. Um, I've had a number of like everyone else, a number of things that have not gone as well as I'd like, and it's that discover, rethink, step forward, and find a path of, I'll say, enjoyment, and joy, because what else is there to do? All the money in the world won't guarantee you uh, being happy.
And many people like Elon Musk right now is big in the press, and everybody's saying that he's ultra successful. But then there's the naysayers that say that he's got no life and things like that. So without knocking his success, for some people, the marker is take your wealth and you can do it, but it's how you're spending your time with your family. So
Hmm.
Tim, the older version, a younger version of Tim could have had the $6 billion, but he might not have been happy because he may not have brought his family along. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. The people around you are invaluable. They're worth um, billions of dollars are here or there, but the people who are around you they need to be, I'll say, curated, but they're important. And a good crowd around you increases your health, wellness, and value. Like there's that statement of take a look at your top 5 friends, and they kind of define where you are going. And I'm really lucky. I've got some really good friends.
Okay, I have my cat.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have 2. They're both sitting in front of me.
Okay. So what do you think that the Elon Musks and the Bill Gates, the Jeff Bezos, or whatever, the Uber athletes, the Sidney Crosbys, whatever field you pick as successful, what do you think is one thing that has helped them, in your opinion, be successful?
I
What
would
do
say
they
that,
have that the average person may not?
well, when you're talking about a Olympian, persistence. They do not allow ordinary to occur. They persist. And failure is not an option. They just keep moving. Most of and I'll have to say, it's only an understanding, not an experience. Many things at that level are a mind game. Yes, you have a body, but the mind is in control of it, and that mental mindset is how Olympians succeed. And those in that category of physical, SEALs, extreme runners, all of those. It's a mindset of do.
Okay, so then let's really pull this apart. So they have a mindset of do. What is that mindset of do, if we could simplify it? Is it willpower? Is it determination? Is it focus on the bigger picture? How could you simplify that their willingness just to get something done?
Um, I'm cautious in saying it's willpower because there's lots of theories around it. It's something that's infinite or very limited. So I don't like the term willpower. Uh, I just kind of I prefer the term do. You just do it, and you keep doing it, adjusting, do it again, find the improvements, tweak it, and keep stepping forward. You have to have a target. You need to know where you're going, and that target can constantly change as you gain new understanding. Because when you start, it's a classic. When you're looking up at the mountain, you have no idea what the right path is to the top of it. You're going to have to adjust throughout the whole time, and in some cases, you'll have to backtrack and find a new path. So it's that constant doing, taking the next step, assessing where you are right now, and sometimes that means taking 2 steps back and finding the alternate path.
Okay. And then, see, I'm really trying to pull the bandit off, or the scab off. So we keep looking. What is that secret sauce that drives somebody to climb that mountain? Do you think, to keep going in spite of the tiredness? What do you think? And there's no right or wrong, but what would you speculate?
Um, I think there's lots of aspects wrapped into but it's I would summarize it as 2: the ongoing persistence and the want of getting it done. Whatever, they want to see the world from the top of that mountain, and nothing is going to stop them from doing that. And so it's perseverance, but I think ultimately even comes down to that never-ending want to get that done.
Okay, thank you. And so if that never-ending want, do you think that could be separate the for lack of better term, the average or the normal person and the uber successful or the ultra or even a moderately successful person. It is that need and want.
Oh, very much so. As well as I have to, my research and investigation, individuals like Musk aren't that unique. What's unique is they had a sequence of events that were lucky for them, that kept, the luck kept incrementing for them, and they achieved, ultimate significant success. Other people do exactly the same thing. The dice don't always roll their way, and so they have success, maybe a couple of failures, some more success, and so the capabilities are all there. It's just that sometimes I think the ultimate variable is um, that piece of luck. Um, the best example I know of is I have a couple of friends who they had a lot of retail real estate property just before COVID, and they chose to sell one, but their real estate agent said, "Hey, it's a really good time. Why don't you just sell them all?" And they did. And then a month and a half later, everything crashed. So they were able to exit that market with really good coin, more than they anticipated, because some of the properties were fought over. And so that's lucky. They couldn't have planned it. No matter how much expertise that they threw in there, it was just a piece of fortunate luck that things came together for them. Had it changed, had they done it 2 months later, the results would have been notably different. And so that be prepared, be ready, and then do the best you can all the time, and that hopefully produces a sequence of lucky events that'll benefit.
So instead of using the term luck, I would say to be willing to seize the opportunity when it presents, as
Yes.
opposed to some people can get lost in indecision. And I think one of the tenets of successful people is their um, willingness to take risks and make decisions in spite of the risks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the pain that it may cause them.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just looking at my time and I'm like,
Bing.
how is this possible that we're almost out of time? It's like, but since I have known Tim for years, it's not unlike us to get lost in time in our conversations. So if you were able to leave our viewers, listeners, um, with a thought or something to ponder, what was it? What would you like to leave them with?
Sure. It's a simple one. There's two ways of looking at success: comparing yourself to someone else, or comparing yourself to who you were 6 months ago. And the one that I think that is more valuable is looking at who you were 6 months ago, because those other people don't live your life.
That's brilliant. And so thank you. And I know you have many things on the go, and you could have chosen to do something else. So I really want to thank you, Tim, for taking the time.
You're welcome. Thank you. I enjoyed.
Yeah. Okay. Take
Bye.
care.